Okay, today what we want to talk about is solving inequalities and solving graphing and set builder notation. You should already have previous knowledge on most of this. The only thing that we're really going to need to emphasize is set builder notation. There's going to be a couple different types of notations that we're going to be dealing with in this unit. We're into Unit 5 now, so let's make sure that we understand what we're doing when at the beginning with set builder notation. So first of all, basic background knowledge, graph of an inequality, the set that represents all values of the inequality. Open circle is used to graph either greater than or less than. The closed circle is used to graph greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. And a negative coefficient of x, when you multiply or divide each side of an inequality by a negative, you must switch the direction of the inequality symbol. So, set builder notation. Okay, we're a little familiar with this when we're dealing with our domain and range when we had a line that continued. So I have x such that x is greater than or equal to 20. Okay, that's what we need to understand when we're doing set builder notation. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about it. We can read on and on, but let's go ahead and get into it. Write and graph an inequality that represents all numbers greater than 8. Okay, so first of all, my inequality would be x greater than 8. In order to graph that, I would have 8. I would have an open circle, and I would want to go ahead and go to the right. Set builder notation, x, we want our braces, such that x is greater than 8. Done. So the highest temperature recorded in the U.S. was 134 degrees Fahrenheit at Death Valley, California. Write an inequality that describes the temperature in the U.S. So we would probably say that's the greatest it's going to be. So x would be less than or equal to 134, because it could equal 134, but it's not going to be greater than that because that's the highest one there was. So I have 134, and I would have a closed circle, and I would go to the left. Set builder notation, x such that x is less than or equal to 134. And you might be sitting there going, well, this is really simple. All I'm doing right now is I'm adding braces and the x such that thing. And you're right. But we want to get comfortable with this now because, you know, we'll always pick it up a notch. So, a multi-step inequality. All right, this is a review from last year. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, add 5. And I have 2x less than 12. Divide by 2, and x will be less than 6. All right, so here's my 6. Here's my open circle going to the left, and I have x such that x is less than 6. It's not bad so far. Moving on. Okay, so now we're going to kick it up a notch. I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. I have negative 7x, and I have negative 7. Now, I have a negative coefficient. We need to remember from last year, if you have a negative coefficient, that's the number in front of the variable. If you have a negative coefficient, our symbol needs to switch. So it's going to switch to a greater than symbol. Divide by negative 7. And x is going to be greater than 1. Negative 7 divided by negative 7 is positive 1. So x such that x greater than 1. Here's my 1 going greater than. Done. Okay, here we go. we're going to subtract 5. And I have negative x, and I have negative 1. Now, that negative in front of the x, remember that's kind of like saying negative 1x, right? So that's essentially a negative coefficient. So if we divide both sides by negative 1, or what I like to do is just make the values opposite, I will have x less than 1. Okay, so set notation x such that x less than 1. Okay, and to graph it, here's my 1, here's my open circle, done. Okay, so let's go ahead and kick our inequalities up a bit. You may have practiced with these in 6th grade or not. Really, it's just like a multi-step equation. The only difference is that we're dealing with inequality symbols. So the first thing I'm going to do is distribute. So I have 12x minus 1 is greater than 12x minus 12. So here we go. We have take 12x away from both sides. And I have negative 1 is greater than negative 12. Okay, since we have a true statement of negative 1 is greater than negative 12, we would go ahead in our set builder notation, we would go ahead and say x such that x is a real number. X is a real number. And that's it. Okay, finally, we have 14x plus 5 is less than 7 times 2x minus 3. So first of all, we want to distribute, and I have 14x plus 5 less than 14x minus 21. So again, we're going to subtract 14x from both sides, and I have 5 is less than negative 21. Well, that statement is not true. And so if that statement is not true, the solution set is an empty set. Okay, so we would just go ahead and say empty set. That's what that notation means. And we would just leave it at that. Thank you.